Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. Flight boss in this motherfucker. And we're going to talk about motherfucker, what's a goddamn vortex? And why do a vortex influence you in your goddamn life? And why you got one? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about a vortex because it's a lot more simple than people think it is. And you know me, I don't like to add in all the spookism shit. I like to get to the root cause of things. What the fuck it actually is. Because me, as a goddamn spirit, I'll be damned if I'm afraid of the goddamn dark. So goddamn it, any fucking vibration I feel in any type of darkness, in any realm of reality, I'm gonna go motherfucker attack that motherfucking shit head first. Shit. So motherfucker, we're gonna talk about what's a goddamn vortex in this motherfucker. So what's a vortex? Now, a vortex is nothing more, nothing less but your chakra wave, aka your spiraling system in somebody else's space, aka your light spinning in somebody else's space, your current wheel spinning in somebody else's space. Now, you need to understand this. This is why you need to go look at my videos about how to understand spiritual warfare. Go look at part 1, what is a warship, right? Go look at part 2 on how to build a warship, and go look at part 3. Rules of engagements and terms and conditions. And we're going to get into part 4 and part 5. Part 4 is Clash of the Titans. Part 5 is how to put someone in heaven and also how to put someone in hell. And goddamn it, look, that might make those videos private, but for the most part, my soul group going to learn this goddamn shit before I'm out this motherfucker. Now look, a vortex is when you got your motherfucking chakra spinning in somebody else's space. So it becomes a vortex. Now, your influence in someone else's space open up possibilities for you to manifest trial and tribulations in someone else's life, or for you to bring in prosperity into somebody else's life. Now, here's what you need to understand. I done told you motherfuckers that we fighting for space in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. So don't ever get that fucked up. Don't think everything is peachy and sweet based upon how lost you are in the 3rd dimension. So you might be lost into love and everybody being relatable and everybody being compromising. But goddamn it, when everybody in their own goddamn space, they true goddamn colors come out. They true vibrations come out. And a lot of times, you ain't in that imagination. You ain't in the combining of those 2 chakras. So don't be in your own home thinking, should you do this or shouldn't you do that, based upon your own chakra. Because 9 times out of 10, motherfuckers ain't allowing you in their space. I don't care what kind of illusion that they create in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional realm to make your ass feel comfortable to get lost in that goddamn light. You better know what the fuck this world is about. And goddamn it, we fighting for space. We fighting for space in this motherfucker. And if you want to think about that on the 3rd dimension, right? When you create a space in the stars, you create your appearance, your reality, your idea, your concept, your heaven or hell, right? You create that appearance for your goddamn self. So that's your goddamn spaceship. That's your fucking vortex in this motherfucker. In the moment you let somebody else take that and remix it and reshape it into what they want it to look like, the moment you get lost into their dream and it becomes your goddamn nightmare. They become your nightmare. Now you need to know, we're fighting for motherfucking space. So keep that in mind. When you create a space in the stars, right? That's your space. That's your position. You create a light. So down here in the 3rd dimension, it plays out as your positioning, your concept, your idea, your information, how you're coming across, your influence. That little ocean that you made in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, in the 3rd dimension, it play out as influence. So in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, it's influent. In the 3rd dimension, it's influence. So you need to check this out, right? Now, since you know we fighting for space, once you reach certain levels of frequencies and vibrations, you're going to be sharing space. And once the higher you go, the realm of reality get much smaller, much thinner. There's only a few beings there. And the higher you get, you probably can count your goddamn hands how many people are there. So once you start to fight for space, and once you in a realm of reality where you know that you're sharing space, and if you rising up in consciousness, that space is getting very thin. And there's only a few people in that space. So goddamn it, you're going to be clashing with the goddamn Titans. So this is what you need to understand. Once you share space with a group of other people, y'all going to be fighting for that little ass space. Now, what does that mean, right? Now, you got your vortex in my space. Now, you might be spinning in a certain way that might be manifesting certain ocean currents my way that I don't want in my current events. So for the most part, I'm going to create a spaceship within my space to knock your ass off so you can get away from my space a little bit. Now, what does that mean a little bit, right? Once we start to do a lot of things in the third dimension, we start to share, we start to put ourselves and attract the same crowds and attract the same audience. So in the third dimension, that represents in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension as a group of people being in the same space. Because those group of people in that same space is gravitating, is manifesting the same audience and crowd in the third dimension. So this is what you need to understand, right? Now, one thing I want to get clear, right? You need to understand the term space before we even get deep in this. Understand the term space. God damn it, last time I checked, space was free. It's free space everywhere. Now, the moment somebody try to proclaim a space or positioning, that's a little bit of demonic energy right there. You know what I'm saying? The space is free. So I can freely roam into anybody's space or any space I please. Now, I respect people. So I don't step on toes. So based upon what kind of light a person have emitted in that space, that might be a location that I don't want to go in anyway. So I'm not going to try to stumble across that space knowing that it's greater lights in that space. That's another video though. But for the most part, you need to know that space is free. So that's always at the end. Now you got some intelligent, high vibrational spirits that can proclaim a space, but you need to understand at the end of the day, space is goddamn free. This is the reason why people are buying and paying for their location, paying for the space that they are in and shit like that, because you done got some other spirit that they came and understood that space is free, but since they proclaimed that space and positioning, everybody who gonna stay in that space got to motherfucking pay. You know what I'm saying? In some way, shape, or form. Now, when we talk about intellectual wise, we talk about concepts and ideas. So when you got a vortex, right? That means a vortex is somebody else's space. But we know that there's no such thing as a person owning a space. So when you just vortexing in somebody else's where they want to proclaim that space, you got to be ready to go to war. You got to be ready to go to war. Now, I don't know if too many people understand this video. This video is only for people who spiritually inclined. You know what I'm saying? I'm hitting this right now, and I still can't come down to 3D. So I don't really feel like breaking down shit into an example on how y'all can correlate it in 3D. Right now, you got to be spiritually inclined to know what I'm talking about. You have to already have went through the spiritual warfare videos, and what is spiritual warfare? Therefore, we already esoterically, if you're watching this video, so you already know what I'm talking about third dimensional wise. If you have proclaimed the space in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, that means you have pushed out an idea or influence down here in the third dimension. Now, that idea or influence down that you push down here, based upon how high in consciousness it is, that's gonna be what space you in. And like I just told you, the higher the space you go, you know what I'm saying, the smaller the space is. So if you got a group of spirits in that space, goddamn it, you better be ready to go to fucking war. Shit. You ain't went all the way to the one space yet. And that's the most high, and that's an underboss of some shit. That's another video. But I need y'all to understand, when we talk about spiritual warfare, this shit goes deep till we talk about the vibrations and the thoughts and the emotions that's on a motherfucker. So, for the most part, when you got a vortex, 9 times out of 10, you're going to gravitate towards what you put out. Now, this is what you need to understand, what you put out. You need to make sure you're pinpointing everything that you put out when you influence or when you interact with the world. So, every thought, every emotion, every feeling, and where it come from, you're going to get all that back. How much percentage of energy and time you put into each one of them. And that's how much percentage of it you're going to get back. So just think about it. All y'all go through happy moments and trial and tribulation moments every day of y'all lives. But think about how long the experience be. How long the experience of that happy moment was. How long was the experience of that trial and tribulation moment was. And that's going to let you know how much percentage you've been putting into those state of beings. So if you do manifest a great trial and tribulation in your life, it's because your mind and your feelings and emotion was already in that state of being. Already before you manifested that shit. So, you need to understand, right? What you put out is what you get back. So, whatever space you in, whatever light you admit to be in that space, to proclaim that position, that's what you're going to get back also. Because light attracts other lights. So, lights attract spirits, because spirits is in those lights. We create chakras for ourselves to go into to experience that realm of reality, that ocean. So, for the most part, here's the thing. When you emit a certain vibration or a light in a space, it's going to attract. And based upon how big that light is, it's going to attract everybody else who's in that space. Now, based upon the elements that's in that space, like is it a negative light, a positive light, a wisdom light, an angry light, a prosperity light, a favorable light, a loving light, a hatred light, an intentionable light. You know what I'm saying? Whatever kind of information you have mixed in that light, those are the type of beings that's going to attract in that space. Now, if you're in a very high space, you're going to attract is limited. So you're going to attract, you better make sure you're picking sides, and you better make sure you're ready to go to war. But depending on what space you in, these are the type of beings you're going to attract. So for the most part, you gotta know what's coming to you, and you got to know what realm of reality you in. Now, like I told you, space is free space. So it's up to you to create a big ass spaceship within that space if you don't want to get fucked with when you're traveling through space. See, we all travel space and leap over boundaries and shit like that. In the third dimension, that'll play like you talking about something you may not know about, or you jumping into somebody else's field that they already good in that field, or you. It's just based upon positioning. So you need to understand that no one owns no space. The ability for them to sustain the space is just purely off their spiritual nature. So don't get your spiritual nature weakened when you in a circumstance of you having a vortex and you having somebody else trying to wash your current away based upon because y'all sharing the same space. You need to understand you deserve a spot and location in that space also, especially if you even made it in that space. If you even gravitating even enough tension to even be in that goddamn space, your ass deserve a spot and a location in that space. So you need to gain a sufficient spaceship so your ass don't get currently directed into another area, and then that might be off a dam. When first and foremost you probably was led into the promised land, but you let somebody else's current event wash you over and redirect your energy off the motherfucking land. See, now we ain't got time for that shit. Off a dam, I meant to say. And it's 2019, nigga. All space is up for grabs. All space is up for grabs. Nigga, the scientists can't even proclaim no space right now. They don't even know what the fuck going on. Religious people can't even proclaim no space right now. They don't even know what the fuck going on. They motherfucking, the demon that the religious people worship, that, it left their house vacant. He not even there no more. So these motherfuckers forced to come up with all kind of other shit, all kind of justifications for their sins that they be doing, all kind of shit, just because the motherfucker that they follow ain't even in the building no more. Nigga, this nigga space is clear right now. Space is wide open. Wide open. Space is wide open. Anybody can take over. You could be a bum on the street and take over the whole fucking world right now. That's how motherfucking space is open right now. I don't think you motherfuckers get it. I wish I had a better way to break it down into 3D, but goddammit, I ain't feel like coming down in 3D on this video. So you just gonna have to understand this. You know what I'm saying? But when I break down about Clash of the Titans and how to cast someone in hell and how to send someone in heaven, that video just might be private because I'm gonna have to break that down in 3-dimensional terms for my soul group to understand that, because this is some real shit. Because really, everybody be doing this shit on a minor level and on a large level. But if you can understand what's actually going on and how to actually do it, goddammit, you'll be out here creating all kind of realms of realities. And I don't want everybody doing that. So that video might just be for my soul, bro. I might just make those videos private. Spiritual Warfare 4 and 5. But for the most part, you need to last videos, but for the most part, yeah, a vortex is nothing more, nothing less. But when you are spiraling in someone else's space, so when you're spiraling, that's a current, a wheel, a chakra. So you're manifesting and attracting more things, people, places, or things, or concepts and ideas into that space. So when you're vortexing in somebody else's space, right? Since you're gravitating more attention in that space, you allow the person who was in that space or the group of people who was in that space to start to get offended in some way, shape, or form. But you always have to remember that don't nobody own no fucking space. Don't nobody own your goddamn spirit. The spirit is your goddamn space. So don't nobody own any goddamn space. So once you realize that and be like, hold on, okay, wait a minute. Don't nobody own this motherfucking space. So for the most part, no, I'm attracting this shit in this realm of reality. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you got to think. And you put yourself in that space. So however you are attracting, that idea and concept will start to materialize as a concept first. And you will proclaim that space because you didn't pushed into another idea and imagination in that space that everybody was smothered at. Otherwise, there will be no circumstance or situation for people to be offended about nothing, because for the most part, for people to be offended, they must think that someone is stepping on somebody's toes. So a vortex, by default, is an illusion. You only see the concept of a spiral because it's within a field. So within a field is within a space, somebody else's space. So once you have a smaller space within somebody else's space, it's going to look like a spiral. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, it'd be motherfucking shared space. and that shared space be a group of motherfucking spirals. So it'd be like one big ass vortex of motherfuckers fighting for space. And for the most part, based upon how you start vortexing, right? You're gonna start making other motherfuckers jealous or intimidated because your vortex light becomes way bigger than other people's vortex. So your spinning and the expansion and contraction attracts way more people within that space. So other people who probably in that space, persons, spirits, may get jealous and things of that nature, and then try to make you feel guilty or something like that and redirect your current so you can current and swim somewhere out of that space. But you have to understand that no one owns the space. So just because you're vortexing high, it must be just because your spirit. So goddamn, don't let nobody be no goddamn spiritual hater and tame your motherfucking spirit down because your spirit is taking over all the goddamn space. So motherfucker, you go ahead and create a big ass sun and moon there, a big ass sun, a big ass Lucifer, and a big ass Lilith there. Therefore, people have to move around you. Nah, they can't make you move. They got to move around you. So they either combine with you, aka work with you, or got to move around. Move around. Or get your ass washed in this current. And that's what a motherfucking vortex is in this motherfucker. So you better utilize your vortex, because goddamn, I'm gonna let you know right now, we're all within a big ass space. So we all ain't nothing but little ass vortexes. But goddamn, since we fighting for space, goddamn, I'm gonna create a chakra, and fuck that illusion of a vortex. You gonna see the sun. You gonna see the moon. You gonna see a big ass new day. You come close to my motherfucking space and location in this motherfucker, for believe that. You ain't gonna see no spiral or no little ass slithery snake frequency vibration moving through and me spark a little idea. No, you come in my motherfucking space, motherfucker, you gonna see Disney World. Motherfucker. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn air.